Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Welcome to this episode of Atlanta Business Radio, and this is my favorite episode we do each month. It's Georgia State University's Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute radio show. And so this is going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, it is going to be a lot of fun. I love coming down here and broadcasting live. We meet some really fantastic people who are so bright and so passionate. Everything from the people on faculty and staff to the students. Everyone in this GSU ENI ecosystem is just such a pleasure to be around. And we actually met this first guest on a previous episode down here. It is my absolute delight to welcome back to the Business Radio X microphone Associate Director and Professor of Practice, Dr. Isabelle Monlouis. How are you?
I'm well. How are you today? It's a pleasure to be back.
Well, Isabelle, anything new happened since the last time we chatted?
Funny you should ask. So we will give you more details, but today I brought with me two of our outstanding students who are also shining beacons of what's possible in the space of entrepreneurship and innovation through the Georgia State ecosystem, but also through sheer resilience, creativity, innovation, and a desire to make an impact.
All right. You want to kick it off with them? Should we bring them on?
Absolutely. So I'd like to introduce to you Chante Knox, the inventor of the Nuclean Cup, as well as the founder of Deliver Her. And she will tell you more about what that means. And with her is her partner, Dia Davis, who is the COO of Deliver Her. And they are also the winners of the Grand Championship of the eFest competition, where they actually competed against 25 of the brightest and the best entrepreneurship undergraduate teams and took home the key prize.
And that was a competition that was statewide or just GSU? Or
actually, it was a nationwide competition. And if we'd like to, not to brag, but we actually had a stiff competition. We're competing against, let's see, the Princeton, Babson, Virginia Tech, and in fact, the Air Force Academy. Oh, wow. So we had a field of 25 of the brightest teams. And actually, they had over 100 entrants. And you also already had to be one of the top 25 teams to even make it to the competition. And in the competition, they won the first prize for the 90-second pitch. Chante's team took top prize for the Innovation Challenge. And they also won the top prize for their bracket in the finals. And therefore, they qualified for the Grand Championship, where they also won the top prize.
Wow.
Which was itself $75,000.
Man.
So
they're buying lunch.
They cleaned up. It's pretty impressive, not just because of the amount, which was obviously quite significant, but it's impressive because of the variety of skills and talent that they had to demonstrate in order to make this field of 25, as well as to actually win this field of 25. Right. And so it was a 3-day competition in Minneapolis, where we got snowed in the middle of April, where they had an opportunity to not only compete, but also collaborate with some of those other teams and learn more, but also impress judges who were very well-established entrepreneurs and business leaders, some of them at their own venture firms, some of them at launch over 100 startups. And one of the championship judges was indeed the CEO of Best Buy.
Wow.
So the competition is actually sponsored by the Schultz Family Foundation. So Dick Schultz, the founder and chairman emeritus of Best Buy, is actually the sort of driving the driving investor behind this competition, and it is his commitment to give back to the next generation.
All right, so let's hear from them. Chante and Dia, welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
Well, tell us about Deliver Her.
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce it? Deliver Her?
Yes.
How are you serving folks?
Well, Deliver Her is a all-inclusive whole woman period subscription service that caters to women's need during that time of the month. What happens is women, they come to our website and fill out a short quiz about their monthly needs, and then we custom curate a personal package that's delivered to our doorstep. So we know that every woman is unique, and every box is unique according to the woman's needs.
And then once they subscribe, it's the same thing that they get every month, or does it change a little?
Their personal period products remain the same because obviously that doesn't change much. But the other items that, let's say some women have bloating, some have cramps, some have cravings. So you get different items to cater to those specific needs. Mm-hmm. So it's a surprise every month.
And it's the same model as a subscription box that are in other areas, right? Except this is specializing in the woman's
feminine
period
care,
right?
Yes.
So it has all the practical things they need, but it also has some fun kind of lifestyle things they need as well.
Absolutely.
But one of the biggest things that's very important in the package is the new clean cup, which is a product that was invented, tested, and patented by Chante Knox. It's combined with a collection capacity as well as being able to combine all the traditional products that are on the market, kind of taking the best benefits of that and put it into one product. So it's a menstrual cup. So that's also included in that box.
Right.
And then you invented that.
I did. And it's the only absorbent disposable menstrual cup. Most menstrual cups are reusable. And there's kind of a drawback. A lot of women are apprehensive to reusing those types of products, I being one of them. And the problem with the cups that are on the market, even the other disposable cup, is it doesn't absorb. So it's kind of messy, trying to paint this picture without being too graphic for you. So what our cup does is it eliminates the mess. It absorbs, it collects 3 times as much as a regular sanitary products, and it lasts 3 times as long as well.
So now, did you come up with this box in order to kind of sell more cups? Like, what
Yes.
was the kind of the
Yes,
chicken
you're
and the egg
genius.
of this?
Well, we like to say that men are our allies, so we wanted to make it an easier process for men who are supporting their women when they're on their menstrual cycle. We don't want them to be going to the store picking up the wrong products. So if you buy your lady a subscription service, it comes with a new clean cup and the products as well. So it's
Try to just market that as a standalone product?
Right. When I first came up with the cup idea, I realized that we were going to face some resistance with trying to enter the market. There are so many legacy companies that have been around for a very, very long time. And I knew that if you create a product that was better than everything that was out there, and you have these large conglomerates that could wipe your company out in a day, they very well try. And the thing is, we know that we're going to face resistance. Even with introducing a cup with these larger companies, they'll probably try to drive us out of the market.
What's the market share of a cup compared to the other materials that women use?
Okay, so the total feminine care market is about $16 billion for feminine care products. And for menstrual cups, it's about $3 million.
3 million?
million.
No.
billion.
3 billion. Oh, no. 985 million.
So
it's almost a billion by itself.
Right, it's almost $1 billion by itself. So it's $3 billion for that specific market for those products in terms of tampons and pads, and then it's 1 million of that is
1 billion.
1 billion of
I know,
that.
right?
I'm sorry.
A third of
900.
A third of the market. Yeah.
Right.
And it's an increasing share of the market.
Right.
So it's actually growing in popularity.
Absolutely.
And then so it's been around for a long time, but it just the adoption of this was less, or did it have
It's really the absorption factor of it. So that was the biggest aspect that we kind of changed. That Chante changed. That wasn't on the market.
Right.
So you have something that collects, but it's not absorbing.
Right.
If that can paint that. So.
But I think he was getting at like how long have menstrual cups been around, and they were created in 1930 in the 1930s, around the same time that tampons were created. However, tampons took off and menstrual cups didn't. And the cup that was created in the 1930s are the reusable cups. And like I said, most women have apprehension to using a product that they have to reuse.
Right.
And then the fact that it doesn't absorb makes women have to deal with the messiness. And we just don't want to deal with the messiness. Like, we understand that our cycles are part of our lives and we're going to have to deal with it. But if we could take it and make it,
easier and cleaner.
less messy, as less messy as possible, then that's the route that we'll take, which is the reason why sanitary napkins and tampons have held the lion's share of the market for so long. But now with the introduction of the new Clean Cup, which has the collection capacity of a cup, but the absorbent capacity of the tampons and sanitary napkins, we think we're going to be making quite a bit of noise.
So now you come up with this idea. So now you're like, okay, now everybody's going to love this. So I got to get it out there.
Right.
Right. So that was your first, was that your
that
first?
Was right. So I initially tried to go to the larger companies to try and get licensing or partnership deals, but
so
they
you
weren't.
wanted to partner with the big guy first.
Yeah, I was like, hey, look, I got a
Got a
product
great
that's
idea.
better. Yeah,
Right.
and they're like, absolutely not.
Not interested. So we're
Right. And they're like, and so that's when the idea for Deliver Her was developed. Like, I was like, well, what if I created a subscription service? And we launched
Just
it
for
through
the
that
cups at first.
for the cups. Well, initially I said, well, if you can't beat them, let's join them.
Right.
So if I create a subscription service where women can get tampons, they can get sanitary napkins,
it would
they
just
can get
be
all of
whatever
it.
they want.
While we're still working on the cup. And then we slowly introduce the cup through the subscription service by passing out samples. Let the women who try these other products, because once you try it, you're never going to go back. So, so it's like, let them try it.
Right.
And then after they try it, then we'll convert those who were former tampon and sanitary napkin users.
Now, did you go kind of a traditional influencer marketing through social media approach, like try to attract some celebrities or some people that are notable that to try it and kind of endorse it by using it?
Well, not as of yet, but that's part of our plan going forward. We want to do a full-on marketing campaign, including social media, print, television, radio, and brand ambassador and billboards. So we want to really go all out and make women aware that other better products are available.
There's other choices they may not even be aware of, right?
Right.
And I think it's about the accessibility, but also starting the conversation, because sometimes women feel like it's a taboo to really talk about it. And so part of our product, even just on a social impact, is to really just engage with that conversation for women to be confident in saying what they do and do not like about the products that are on the market. Because we also want to enhance our product and being able to really have something that's unique for each woman. But also something that meets their needs very well.
So social impact is an important part of the brand?
Absolutely.
Yes. And then how are you kind of delivering on that promise?
Well, with the social impact, we want to initially start at home. And
at home being Atlanta?
Yes. And partner with organizations such as homeless shelters, like women in who are disadvantaged or in homeless shelters. A lot of times they get clothes, they get food, but nobody thinks about their personal hygiene needs. So we'd like to help in that aspect as well as with our global impact, global social impact, partner with organizations like CARE, who are on the ground and out there in the field and know what other organizations or other women in different countries need, so that they can help us decide whether we need to be philanthropic or if we need to provide products to those women.
And we also want to help in terms of resolving period poverty. So that's a big issue globally. But we also like to say, most women on their menstrual cycle don't wear white, but we do. Right. So we want to be able to kind of make that stance for women that says they don't have to be limited when they're on their cycle. We give them a product that helps them go throughout the day as if they're carrying on like they're not on. Right. So that's one of the biggest things that we want to do to impact.
Now, how has GSU helped in this venture or adventure?
Well, I think we're looking at her. Dr. Monlouis has definitely been very helpful in our process, and even how we met, we connected.
So you didn't know each other prior to?
No, we like to say we were on separate journeys. Chante and I represent about the 32% of women who do have heavier cycles. So she was on a quest to kind of resolve her own needs for her menstrual cycle, and I was actually in a research study to resolve my own needs. But I was also taking Dr. Monlouis' class in entrepreneurship.
So both of you were taking the class?
So they're being very kind. They
giving you a lot of credit.
So I do get credit for introducing them, but I do not get credit for getting them on that journey. They're both extremely talented. So Chante actually walked up to me and said, "Hi, my name is Chante Knox. This is what I'm up to." And I said, "How can I help you?" So that's, so to put credit where credit belongs. And I think it's sometimes hard when you start on your entrepreneurial journey. There's so much to do that even if you have a fantastic product, there are so many steps that you have to follow in order to build the entire business infrastructure. And one of the big misconceptions about entrepreneurs is that you can go it alone.
Right.
And certainly when you're a go-getter, it's tempting to do that. So part of the conversation with Chante was some of those, the structures around the business and also helping her build a team. And likewise, so I have Dia, who was also on her own entrepreneurial journey, was also a go-getter. And I suggested that they talk to each other. And when they did, they got along so well, so quickly that I got worried. And so
now we finish each other's sentences. If
pretty
you
much,
notice.
So it was really a complementary sort of meeting, and they've actually worked extremely well together to support each other in getting taking the company to the next level. So in many ways, we're a little bit lucky.
Well, that's part of it too, right?
Yes.
But it's serendipity. It helps, but sometimes it helps when you're all kind of like-minded and you're part of this organization and this program where these people tend to gravitate.
Right.
I think what both of them understand well is that it takes hard work and a long time to create an overnight success.
That's right.
Yes.
and having a good idea
Isn't
is
enough.
important, but that's not going to stand alone, right? You can have the best idea in the middle of the table, and it's not going to go anywhere.
So what's amazing about what they are doing is that they are working on a real problem for which there is authentic demand.
Yes.
So, you may never use this product, you may never need, but I promise you it's a need that most women can relate to. And it's a need that women have about 250 times in their lifetimes. Right. So there's a very predictable demand for this product, a large demand. And we have used products that have been limited in their ability to meet our needs.
Yes.
And
most of them have been made by men.
So part of this conversation was a solution for women by women.
Yes.
And so they've actually worked really hard and in getting to this level. And as I said, they understand that it takes hard work, and it also takes being willing to grow as an entrepreneur in order to meet the successive challenges, because each phase of growth brings its own set of challenges.
Now, part of the challenge, I would imagine, is you have a manufacturing issue, right? Like you have to learn about how to be a manufacturer of a product or partner with
manufacturers, and then trust them to do
what they say they're going to do.
Exactly.
Right?
And I think those are the things we learn now.
Expectations.
Yes.
Right. So those are a lot of the things that we learn now as, being a part of a business. It's like, okay, well, you can win a competition, but now you have to put all the work behind it to say, okay, this thing has to really happen. And when you have people like the CEO of Best Buy who came up to us and said, you remind me of my business partner and how we talk and the conversations we have, and now you got to really do it. Right. And so it becomes like okay, we really got to, learn the ins and outs of it. We understand, and I think that's why me and Chante work so well together. We can't do every job, but we have to learn what the process is so that we can understand bringing people onto the team, building a company, what that looks like, and really being able to cater to our business needs as well as our customer needs in the right way. So
now, as an entrepreneur, when you're starting out, when you have nothing, you have nothing to lose, right? So now everything's possible, and anything you can visualize that. Now, when you start having some success and people are counting on you, now the mindset is a little different, right? Because now there's stakes. Now there is something to lose. Right. Do you feel that pressure?
Well, for me, there's always been stakes.
Something.
Right. Well, because when I patent, I didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to patent this. It came from a real sheer need. I needed something different than tampons and sanitary napkins. And when I first discovered menstrual cups, they didn't absorb. And I thought to myself, if these things absorb, they would be the best period protection in the world. And for a while, for like 8 or 9 months, I experimented with different types of absorbent materials. I was actually happy to get my cycle. It's like, oh, I get to experiment with
this.
Right, until I found the right materials to go in the cup. And then I was like, wow, this is great. And it still didn't dawn on me at that time to patent it. I was just happy that I found something to meet my period needs. I had the perfect period protection. I could wear white. I could carry on like I was not on. I could go about my day without worrying about my cycle. And that was a relief for me in my day. And so I did that for several months. And then one day I didn't have the compressed cotton pads that I used. And I was livid. I was like, there's no way I'm using this thing if it's not going to absorb. And that's when the idea went off like, well, why don't you make it? And so I started researching patents and prior art to find out if it had been done. And I found out it hadn't been done. And I interviewed like maybe 20 patent attorneys to try and explain what was in my head. And none of them got it. And then one day I came across Justin Miller, who's my current patent attorney, who happens to be an engineer as well. But I explained it to him and he got it. He was just like, yeah, so it's a cup and it has a absorbent liner in it, kind of like a Band-Aid. I was like, yeah, exactly. And he wrote the patent out. He gave it back to me to review. I looked over it. We made a few adjustments and we submitted. We got rejected 3 times by the USPTO. And I answered each of their rejections. And I was like, nope, this is different because this and theirs says this and mine says this. And we finally were granted the patent. So for me, it was something that I always knew I was going to commercialize. It was never a doubt in my head that it wasn't going to happen. It was just the process, how we're going to get there. And I wasn't so much concerned as to how. I was like, I know it's going to happen, and all of the moving parts in the middle, they'll fall into place as long as I keep moving towards the goal. So I kind of have a mindset, like, keep your eye on the prize. Don't worry about what's going on outside of that, but if you keep your focus on your main goal, the right steps will come.
And I think that's where Chante is such a visionary. So her answer was to be innovative and a visionary for the future. Mine was getting analytical. I'm like, I'm going to research this thing. I'm going to study my menstrual cycle. I'm going to study my mood and my symptoms. And so when you bring that together, it kind of creates a nice synergy. Yeah. So she gives a vision, and then I'm like, okay, analytics. How do we do this?
So she fills in those gaps for the moving parts.
Right. So you're the visionary and you're the integrator that's kind of making the idea come into fruition. So what made you, go for this eFest competition?
None other than Dr. Monlouis.
Once again, it's the Isabelle gets the credit here.
So I had taken a team to eFest last year.
Oh,
and so I had a chance to experience the competitive field. And I knew it would take a very special team, not just to go back to eFest this year, but to actually make it. And so our first conversation, I said, I think if we do this right, you can place at least in the top 3. We had different conversations afterwards, but because we had but this is where we started. And they said, yes, we're in. And I said, well, it's going to take some work. Because again, I had a sense, if you look at some of the teams that have won previously, or even have placed in the top 3, they are very impressive ventures, impressive young people.
It's not an idea on a napkin.
No, actually, in fact, one of them is actually in full production. The product is going out in the market in March. It's a protective helmet because his sister had in a coma and died because of a car accident. Bicycle accident. Another one is actually has this kind of protective gear for diabetes. It's also already being distributed. Right. She then went on to win the Thiel Fellowship and another $100,000 and quit school. And so we also had that conversation. So inquiring minds want to know, are you going to graduate?
Of course we are.
And we said, yes, we're going to graduate. So important questions. But I knew that it was a very serious competition that was screened by, again, very established entrepreneurs. And so I know we had to not just bring our A game, but I knew it would be an incredible opportunity for them to showcase how special they are and how powerful this particular product can be to disrupt the market. Yes. And I think this is one of the benefits of this kinds of competition. It's a lens, which actually allows us to shine. And so again, because Chante has been working on this for a while, DA is also very dedicated entrepreneurs, but sometimes people think that entrepreneurs only come in a certain package, either a particular type of venture, there's certainly a little bit of sometimes disdain about, you want to do what? A sanitary product? A gendered product? And so there's a bit of disdain, and sometimes it prevents people from seeing the huge business opportunity that it is. And so it was also give them a chance to actually show up and say, yes, we're women. Yes, we have a gendered product. Yes, it's an authentic need with a huge market. And we have a solution that can disrupt $1 billion market, which is only growing. And that, I think, is what IFES does differently than other. It brings professionals to the table who are going to look at it from a business perspective. And if you deliver, we'll give you, pun intended, we'll give you the means to literally accelerate your performance. That's what we got.
Now, to me, this is an example of the kind of benefits of having a university embrace entrepreneurship to provide some of these resources. You were going at it alone, and you were kind of just battling and trying to figure out things. And then all of a sudden you plug into a network where there's all these resources that are available in terms of talent, in terms of advisory help that maybe you would have found on your own over time, but this in one place allowed you to kind of check a lot of boxes, and this part of the growth.
Yes, I met Dr. Monlouis during an E&I event, and I often go on Georgia State's events page to find out what's going on the campus and find out things that are interesting to me. And I think it was a woman's entrepreneurship event, and I was like, I'm going to just go. I wasn't enrolled in E&I or anything. I'm a communication student, and I had initially had entrepreneurship as my minor. But when it came time to graduate or nearing graduation, they were like, well, you need these prerequisites. And I was like, that's going to add another year. And I was like, so we're going to drop that. I have these classes, but I'll still go to the E&I events.
Right.
And so I went to it, and like she said, I walked up to her and I was like, hey, I'm Chante Knox, and I invented this product, and I need help. And she literally took me under her wing.
And I said, and she said it with the same exact confidence. So it's like, okay, I see you. Let's do this. And I think this is what's amazing about Chante is that she knew she was going to find a way, right? So she didn't actually take the classes, but she was like, I'm going to go to the event. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to make some requests. Right. I'm going to find a way. Here's where I'm going. Dia took a different path. She was actually in my entrepreneurship class where she was actually working on a different venture. She's a rule
follower.
Right.
She likes process. Exactly. You need both together. Right. That's where the magic happens.
I took the class. And one of the companies that I was building was called Painted Silhouette. So it's a swimwear line that paints the silhouette of every woman. So it's customizing as well. And I impressed Dr. Monlouis with my overall presentation, and I won one of the awards for that semester. And then this semester, I was on campus taking a class and taking an exam at the time. In the middle of my exam, I took a bathroom break, and I see Dr. Monlouis running down the hallway like, hey, Dia, you want to join this team? And I was like, what is it about? She was like, are you comfortable talking about your menstrual cycle? And it was just like one of the first questions. And I was like, actually, I'm in a research study for my menstrual cycle now. And she was like, I was not expecting that answer. But then she told me more about Chante, and then we got on a phone call, and it was like, boom, it just, all the answers just connected.
It all clicked. But is that a challenge with some people? And to me, it's kind of a double-edged sword. When you're an entrepreneur, Chante, this was your dream, right? You've been thinking this 24/7 for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
So now, Dia, you come in and you had your own dream, right? And this swimsuit thing was your dream. That's what you've been thinking about 24/7. And now when you kind of join forces, did you have to kind of pause your other dream and now kind of join this dream? Like, how did that happen? Because that's for an entrepreneur, it's very personal.
Right. I paused it, but I still feel like it's still going because we were in the market of servicing women. And so when I saw what she was doing and the fact that she took the time, and we talk about this, the perseverance to do a patent for it, my mind completely was like, okay, I love you, swimwear line. I really do. But this is doing like it. I saw the global impact, and immediately the first thing that me and Chante talked about, where we connected with, was creating, basically being a part of history.
Right.
And so when I saw that, I was like, it's not that I'm giving up my swimwear line and my dream with that. It's like I'm improving it. And that was the whole purpose of even taking the course. Because if I didn't never take the course to say, I want to enhance my company, then I would have never made it to this. So I saw it as a streamline to enhancing
the why
everything.
Was still there.
Right.
Like you didn't sacrifice the why.
Right.
Your dream is still around that service of women and that social impact.
So I thought it just enhanced my vision to help women and be of service to them.
And I think, too, with your design stuff, we could probably put some
Right.
monies in the box. So we could be
and
a part
that's
of the
another thing.
subscription.
Right.
Women need this. Women unfortunately take vacations and just so happen to be on their cycles.
Right.
So this is something that they need.
It's not
so, right. And when I met Chante, she was like, "We can do this together." And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, "No, forget what I was doing. Let's focus on what you were doing."
Because I was like, yours didn't have to die. We could still figure out
Elements,
how to put that.
right?
How
I
to
literally
put it
was
in
like,
there.
"Pause. Let's go."
So this is one of the things that's really interesting about Chante. She's really an and kind of person. She's like,
Right.
that vision
And.
expands, as we speak.
Exactly.
But
Nothing excluded.
exactly. But what I love about what you just said, it's really the why. And I think that many entrepreneurs sometimes get focused on the how
Or the what instead
or the
of
what,
why.
and they miss out on the why. And I think that what they both are, they're very, very clear about this why, which is about making a difference in the lives of women. And so if you are focused on the why and you understand the problems that you're solving, then you actually have flexibility. So you can adapt, because if you find a better way
Right.
to meet your why, then the how can change and new partnerships become available. And it's actually an excellent. So when Chante and I were talking about the very beginning about building her team, we began to talk about which values are important to you, which in other words saying what's your why, so that as they meet new people, they can decide if it's a meeting of the minds and if it's a meeting of the hearts, and if that's somebody they want to take that journey with, or maybe if it's not a fit. Because sometimes you can have a technical fit, but it doesn't actually, it's not a fit in terms of the vision for the company and the culture for the company.
Right. And that'll help you as you grow down the line to choose the right team around you.
Absolutely.
They have to be aligned.
Right.
Skills
marriage.
you can teach, but attitude.
Exactly.
Right.
And so that's the thing, not wanting to get in bed or the business bed with somebody who you don't want to be around for a prolonged period of time. So let's say we don't do a public offering, or we don't sell, or we're not acquired, and this becomes a femcare empire.
Right.
Then you're tied to these people for an extended amount of time. So.
And because our competition was like 3 weeks down the line, me and Chante spent.
We became joined at the hip.
Oh my God. We would be up until 3:00 in the morning still typing okay, should we stop? No, let's just keep going.
We would not until we're finished.
And
let's
we
just
were
finish this part.
We were just having conversations. So it's crazy because we were against teams who have been preparing for a year.
Right.
And we had only known each other for 2, 3 years, 4 years. They had been preparing for a long time.
And we were
on
separate,
separate,
3 weeks.
We're like, we've had our
to do this
menstrual
now.
cycle for so many years. We know this thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it
And
came
Chante
together.
had been doing this is
Yes.
Right.
And I had been doing this for more than 4 years. So
Right.
it was something that it was easy to bring Dia up to speed on. And Dr. Monlouis, she had introduced me to a number of other possible candidates for the team as well. And we thought we found a fit here, then we thought we found a fit there. And for whatever reason or another, it just didn't work out.
And now you know what a fit looks like, right?
I do. This is what it
Exactly.
looks like.
Well, now you know, because before
Right.
you're trying different things on, and some of them
Right.
weren't exactly the right.
And we
fit.
have a competitive nature, I would
Right,
say.
both of us.
We both come from good competition, but we both come from that aspect of being able to say, you know what, not only do I feel like what I'm bringing is the best, but it's because I put in the time, I put in the work, I put in the dedication.
Right.
And when you have a professor like Dr. Monlouis who teaches you customer discovery, what's your impact, and you understand your purpose, I think I went into entrepreneurship thinking, I'm going to make money. And then I was like, no, that's the first thing you don't make as an entrepreneur. Like, that's the last part of it. And so once I, took the course and I understood, okay, I have to interview all my customers and understand what it looks like for them. And then my purpose got even bigger. So then when you look at something like this product and you're like, okay, well, the more we talk to women, the more it becomes that social impact as well, to where they're having the conversation. And now it's becoming more comfortable to say, as a woman, I want to be able to have this voice for something that I'm using on a monthly basis. And so that's when you have that moment as an entrepreneur that's like, this is why I do this.
Exactly.
You know, this is the real reason why I do it. You know, the money comes, which is great, but this is why we do this.
So now if somebody wanted to learn more, and is it commercialized right now? Can you get
It is not commercialized.
There's a wait list
right now, but we do have a website that they can go to sign up, to be notified when it is ready. And that's www.delivher.com. DELIVHER.com. For more information, we expect to do a soft launch in August and full production in the fall. So right now we're working on manufacturing our mold and doing a short run of cups that we can test with women, and then going into launch.
And what do you need more of right now?
We need more. We need more manufacturing connections here in the United States, because our manufacturer is in China right now.
Yeah.
So you're looking for an American manufacturer?
Yes.
Yeah. So the other thing that Deliver will be happy to take is this list of women who are anxious to hear more, find out about a new product. And so again, if you sign up on the website, then we will definitely keep you in mind. We love sort of those, the women who are very committed and also who want to be brand ambassadors and who might be interested, who might have communities that are interested. So that would be another request.
Yes.
And Isabelle, for you, what do you got? This semester's winding down, right? Taking a break?
Taking a break from grading. So the first thing is what I think is amazing about what Chante and Dia are doing is that they actually are building an infrastructure to deliver on a really, really big dream. And what we find is that women actually start businesses at a faster rate than men, but oftentimes they start small businesses. In other words, they create a job for themselves, where they oftentimes don't have any vacation or any time. And I think that one of the ways in which we make an impact on women's life is to give them the means to actually build big. And sometimes technology is a part of it. Sometimes solving an important problem which has a large market is a part of it. And then building a team and giving you the means to actually create a business that can serve a market this large is part of the strategy. And so I love that they're an exemplar of this. And in order to make some of those resources and these tools available to more women on campus, we're launching the Women Lead in Entrepreneurship and Innovation course. It is starting this fall. We are recruiting. And yes, I recruited Chante. So I guess she doesn't know yet, but I'm taking her back to the dark side of the minor in entrepreneurship. But I recruited Chante because this is an exemplar of what we're trying to create. And it's a balance of, again, providing tools like, again, technology, which enable women to build big without necessarily needing the large amount of cash infusion that it used to take, but as well as developing the network of influence that it will take to penetrate those distribution channels, to actually make the right connections, to actually build a worldwide distribution system. And so it's a mix of personal development work, it's visioning for the company, and it's building the actual infrastructure by leveraging technology to go big and to go fast. And so again, that's also our invitation. Please join Chante and I. I'm still working on Dia. Please join Chante and I in our adventure next semester, and other just amazing entrepreneurs in Georgia State in the Women Lead in Entrepreneurship and Innovation course, premiering next fall.
You must be so proud.
I am.
Over the moon, right?
I am. They're amazing.
Well, this is what it couldn't be, right?
So you're gonna make me? They're amazing.
She's about to cry. Dude, you have a napkin.
And now they're making fun of me. That's okay. which is part of it. But so I know that. So oftentimes, as I mentioned before, sometimes when you start as an entrepreneur, you don't know that you're an entrepreneur.
Right.
So actually, funny enough, when I met Chante, she would say I'm an inventor, and I said, yes, you are, and so much more.
Right.
And when I met Dia, who actually has a distinguished career in the Miss America pageant system, She thought herself as a pageant girl. And I said, yes, you are. And so much more. First of all, I said, actually, we're going to call them pageant contestant, not pageant girls.
I was so used to saying pageant girls. Miss USA, we're just like, oh, it's a pageant girl.
And I said, and you are, but you're so much more than that. You're an entrepreneur. And so one of the gifts that I get in doing my job is I get to see them grow in their own perception and develop from whatever they think they are, which is already great, into something much greater, which is entrepreneurs, and not just entrepreneurs, but impact entrepreneurs. Women who are going to change the world. And sometimes I see it just a little bit before they see it. And it is...
Oh, we feel the pressure.
But it is a pleasure and a privilege to actually see them at the speed at which they grow. And here's what I can say. No matter how awesome I think they are, they still manage to exceed my expectations.
Well, thank you all for sharing your story today.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, this is Lee Cantor for Stone Payton. We will see you all next time on Georgia State University's Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute Radio.
That was awesome.